Hello everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and I feel relaxed, refreshed, and I'm not sure if I remember how to do this, but we're going to give it a go. Today's video is the product of our live stream mega unboxing. I have taken all the supplies from the Sketch and Story box, the Upcrate and the Scrawlrbox to try and create one artwork. Before we dive into that part, I would just like to draw your attention to the fact that in order to be one of the cool kids, or I think it's probably more a case of be at one with the cool kids, the Colour Cave is now on TikTok. Here is our TikTok handle, so if you like your art entertainment in bite-sized chunks, you can head over there where I've already posted 2 TikToks. You still get all your quality stuff here on YouTube, panic not, panic not. There will be items in the stash shop today as well, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in the video. So we're going to go to top-down view and we can get going. Basically, I'd tipped the entire contents of all 3 subscription boxes out onto the desk, and I was trying to put things into a sensible order here and find all the offending bits of gold glittery paper just to get this right in my mind so that I could see what I had to work with and try and sort of formulate some sort of plan. So that's where we're at. So the point that we're coming in at here, I have done some sketches just of some leaf shapes, and I've also tested out the opacity of the opaque things on top of each other. So I wanted to see if these edding markers would draw over the top of the metallic, and the answer is yes. That's these 2 little marks here. This was a bit of an unsuccessful attempt with the Unipin fine liner. As I was putting it down to begin with, it looked as if it was going to cover it and dry, and then it just started to do that resist thing where it started to bead up and you know, like that's the technical description. It went so the fine liner is going to be a no-go in terms of layering things up, but it also works in reverse as well. If you look at the edding swatches, I have been able to put the metallic marker over the top of the acrylic paint, so that's really good. That the 2 sets of opaque supplies that we're using here are going to work in conjunction with each other, and we're not going to be, you know, like backed into a corner in that sense. So I had a look at the prompts and everything, and I think my plan is really, bearing in mind that I've got orange, I thought that a tiger might be a good idea. Chaos confined if we put a tiger in a cage. I have an orange pen and I have metallic pens to make a cage with. So that would be chaos confined. And the sketch and story part is obviously the heart of the jungle. And we can have loads of fun with that. So I was thinking we could put a tiger in a cage in the middle of the jungle, and 2 out of 3 prompts are covered from Upcrate, Sketch and Story and Scrawlrbox. That's the plan. Whether I am able to execute this or not is another matter. So this point that you've come in at here, I've just tried out a few leafy shapes because I want there to be some sort of border around this. But what I do need to do is I need to sketch some tiger type shapes. Now the thing for me is, see, when I think of a tiger, the first thing that pops into my head is Shere Khan, and I'm talking about the Disney version of a tiger, and I somehow have to extract that from my mind. So I don't know if we want to have an angry tiger because he's stuck behind bars. They've got little wee dinky ears, haven't they? They're just like teddy bears. I think I'm going to have to look up some reference photos, but what I was thinking was if we had, you know, I was thinking like a bird cage, just a really, it's a big bird. You know, I was thinking something like that. So that would be the, you know, we could put this framework down here. Now, obviously, we're not going to you're not going to worry too much about the technicalities of this, but I thought even if we could have like you know, a front on kind of, maybe a tail up in there, well, like that sort of position. And then what we would do is we could have a few fronds and leaves and things, you know, over the front here. But what we would do is we would plan those out, because obviously we would be using the more opaque supplies for that. Amazon have just told me that they thought I might like new luggage. Where do they find this crap? No thanks, Amazon, I don't need new luggage. Oh boy. Yeah, so let's kind of keep that idea in mind. So parts will be covered because I don't want it to be really I don't want it to look really staged, because we have to get that idea of depth and that it's in the heart of the jungle. And I will probably have a few vines and things. I'm a great lover of vines. If any of you have ever seen my sort of foresty type artworks, I tend to favour a good vine. So we might pop some of that in as well. So that is my initial idea. I'm going to use this page just to sketch out a couple of tigers. The last time I drew a tiger for an art challenge, he was terrifying. Okay, so as is my standard method, when I'm drawing something and I want reference images, I just go onto Google and I pick out a bare minimum of 4 reference images just from what comes up in a Google search. The reason I do that is to prevent any plagiarism and any copyright issues, and it gives you a better understanding. The more pictures of something that you look at, the better understanding you have. So you can see that I have picked a seated pose for all 4 of those, but they are different pictures and their heads are in different positions, and obviously they're different tigers, which is the main point. So I am going to use that to learn how to sort of draw this particular pose. So I am using our Staedtler HB pencil. Let's zoom in a little bit here. And the thing that was obvious to me, and is something that I've always kind of known about tigers, is they've got really big shoulders and they've got great big thick legs. Their paws are massive also, makes them adorable and absolutely terrifying all at the same time. What I didn't account for is the actual ratio of chest and shoulder to leg. I would have their legs starting like up here, but they their legs are actually much shorter, and it's like all toes. It's like massive toes. And they're not as neat as some of their feline counterparts. Like, they don't necessarily want to sit with their feet together. But yeah, they seem to have like quite short, stubby legs. And then basically we're chin fluff, more fluff. And most of them as well, their heads are a really weird shape. They're like almost a triangle at the top. And then they just kind of like woof like that. And this bit's shaggy. So like this, let's soften the triangle peak a little bit, but it is essentially a triangle. And then they've got these little half moon ears like that you would see on a teddy bear. Look, it's starting to look like a tiger. This is the truth. We'll work on patterns and things more once we actually get going. But that was just the general sort of, I wanted to get an idea of what I was going to be doing for myself. And that's basically it. And that's going to be plonked in the middle of some tropical foliage, maybe even a couple of tropical plants there, because we do have some very nice colours. We've got to make use of this yellow in the Edding marker set. So I hope you're excited about this, and we shall get set up and make a start on the actual drawing. Okay, funny story. I went to get this old cutting mat, which is what I tape my paintings to when I'm working in watercolour. I went to get this so that I could tape this sheet of paper to it, and I never use this side because it's cut up so badly. Like, that's like a proper knobbly bobbly surface now, so I always use this side. So I turned it over and I'm like, oh, there's already a sheet of paper here. Obviously it's watercolour paper, otherwise I wouldn't have taped it down. I have no idea what this piece of paper was for. Like, I actually don't know. So we're going to use this paper. I don't know what kind of paper it is, that's the problem. So the paper that I was going to use, we'll keep it for a separate video. This paper here, the A4 stuff, this came on recommendation to me from Julia K of Julia K Art Studio, and it's called Pencil March, the company, and this is the expert grade. They do a student grade paper, but the reason that I wanted to try this is it's 50% cotton paper. Watercolour paper with any cotton content in it is good. We like that. It's 300 GSM as well, and it's dual-sided, so you can use one side, which is a smooth, more like a hot press side, and the other side is textured, which would give you more of a cold press or a knot feeling. That's what I wanted to try out today, but we'll do that in another video. If you'd like to see another watercolour video and testing out that paper, which is quite reasonably priced, let me know. That pad's huge though, there's like 30 sheets in that. But back to what we were doing. We're going to scale it down. We're going to go A5. This is what I mean, guys. Like, I can't remember how to do this YouTube stuff. I've forgotten how to do it. Right, anyway, so we're going to work with this. This will be fine. So I need to decide on proportions here. Now, an HB pencil isn't ideal for this. So we have to work out the size of the cage because that is going to dictate how big or small we make our tiger. Now, I think we can make him fairly big actually. Like there's a... Okay, so tiger's got to fit inside there and the rest has got to be greenery. Now, normally what I'd do is I would watercolour in a really nice background. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is round this outside edge. I'm going to put down a very pale green wash. I'm going to leave the inside of the cage area white because there are areas of white that I want to preserve for parts of our tiger. So that's probably the most sensible way to do this, I think. Maybe. At this point, I'm not really sure what I'm going to need watercolour wise, so I've got a ceramic palette here, my paintbrush collection, which is in the llama shaped mug. That's their home. And just all the usual bits and pieces. A rag, I've got water, 2 lots of water, one with a paint puck in, that's going to be for cleaning my brush, and then a separate pot of clean water to add to things for mixing, etc, etc. Okay, so we want to have lots of depth in this. We are going to do our best here to create that with a lot of layers. So if we start with a really light layer, I'm just going to pop down some water first. I was going to say, it looks a bit dusty. I'm sitting here, see when I'm doing this, I'm sitting thinking to myself, what did I actually have, you know, intended for this paper? And the answer is, I've got no idea. Got no idea. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with this canopy leaves colour, and I just want to plonk a little bit of that in. We'll see if this is gonna play ball. Yes, I want this to be like squished or squished in here. Like I'm really like confined. Okay, so now we've got the basics laid out. It's just a case of waiting for layers to dry. But while that is happening, obviously we can start working on our little dude here. So I've got two lots of orange, which I'm actually quite tempted to mix on a palette, which I always say I'm not going to do. I just want to work on a section at a time. This is the thing. See, this is where like that you can kind of get away with stuff here. I'm just going to kind of make most of this part up. This doesn't have to be exact, or, you know. And I'm actually using this tiny little brush here, just to give myself an outline now. Look, he's got an outside of his face. And on the top here it's a bit more sensible, so let's just round that off again. I need to not exaggerate my point that I put in too much. And there's that area around the eyes as well, which I want to just preserve. So in order to do that, I'm just going to draw around it with the paint, like there. And there'll be a little bit under as well. This is more just to keep myself right. This is dried quite well now. Just getting some little eyebrows in here. Or should I say they're not actually eyebrows, they're more tiger eye shapes. I'm starting to think about markings now as well that's gonna come out from these, but just for this moment I want to just give a little bit of attention to his nose here. I tell you what, see, having this fine liner, I'm so glad I've got it. Because there's some things that will absolutely not change from tiger to tiger, and that is how dark this line of their lips is. Because like some of them have got markings on their chins and some of them don't. To give us a little bit of definition, I'm going to have some black hair in there, but we'll worry about that later, that's fine. Yeah, this is drying fairly quickly. I'm not having to wait too long, which is good. Cave's average temperature today is quite cold outside. I'll thicken this up a bit. Yeah. He's like, oh God, someone's trying to take pictures of me again. Nobody's going to try and get me out. Everyone just wants to take pictures. Yeah, see, I'm noticing a trend as well here of just, you know, between the varying pictures, that there is this section here is just much darker. So I'm going to build this up gradually. Okay, I want to have my first leaf come across here. I think we've got enough of his face there on show. Like we've got both his eyes and his nose. That was the main part I wanted. So I want something maybe that's going to come here. And breathe. But it's okay, everything will be fine. Okay, so he's starting to take shape. He is looking a bit cheesed off, isn't he? I mean, I would be cheesed off if somebody put me in a cage that was too small. In fact, I would be cheesed off if someone put me in a cage full stop. Now, what's interesting is they've got these stripes, and it just happens to be the follicles where their whiskers stick out as well. They have a lot of whiskers. Yeah, I really want to get that like squashed in feeling. So in at the back here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of the blue Molotov marker. So these are the aqua colour brush. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in there on top of this orange, because I kind of want a muted down colour. So it's kind of made of brown, but it's a lot darker obviously than what's going on here. I can add a wee bit more orange to that, I think. Kind of use that as like a shadow area and a shadow colour, because that's say tucked in behind the rest of his legs. Okay, so while that's drying, what I can do now is I can start to work on some of our leaves. And I do have the some pens here as well. I'm going to use the markers for like the closer layers of leaves, and obviously the opaque markers like the edding markers, I will keep them for brown again. So we can do a little bit of mixing with these. I've got some brown, but first things first, I'm just going to take this this bigger brush here, and I'm going to have some fun with this. Maybe have some grasses here at the bottom. This is the really nice thing. This is one of the reasons why I really enjoy drawing trees as well. You can kind of make this bit up. I'm going to put another made up monstera here. And I'm just going to build this up in layers, and obviously this is going to take time because I have to wait for each layer of paint to dry before I add in another one. That one didn't go so well. Right, let's block that in. That's a bit better. Okay, while we're waiting on this drying, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible here. I can actually draw in the start of the cage. Now the question is the cage gold or silver? Silver would be more convenient just because this has got a rounded tip on it. However, I feel that would be a bit of a cheat, honestly. I feel like it should be gold. I'm gonna be brave. Oh, I'm gonna go for the gold. I have a feeling I'm going to have more at the sides here, like especially down this side. Right, I feel it's time. I need to let this dry first though. I'm so eager to get on. But you can see that the leaves are starting to build up now, and I feel that I've got quite a nice basis. I maybe want a little bit more along the bottom and along the top, but I feel at the sides I've got a nice balance. Just having used the watercolour, obviously I haven't started with the pens yet, but the pens I can use to my advantage as well. This Molotov marker here is very similar to the macaw colour. It's like a viridian colour. It's a very artificial green, is what I would call it, like an emerald green. But if we blob some water into it, we can start to make some more interesting shapes with it. I just want to see how it compares to the colour, the macaw colour. It's quite delicate actually. While that's drying, I can add in a little bit more orange back to our dude here. Well, see, I can't really because I've got this stuff to deal with, and Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait. This bit along the top's dry. It's time for me. I've been desperate to do this. I'm going to take advantage of the lovely little nibs on this, and I'm going to put in a branch. So, in order to give us some interest, I am not going to have it all the way across the top of these watercolour sections because I want it to look as if it fits in with the background a little bit, but by the same token takes into account what's going on everywhere else, you know, with all the other bits and pieces in the environment. So I will have it weave its way in and out. I think we're going to have to go over the top of this. It's getting a bit complicated over this side. Smooth a couple of sections out. I didn't want it completely smooth. And then maybe, that's obviously not completely dry, maybe this one can come down. And maybe we can start to add some sticks in the marker here. Maybe a little bit in this foreground area as well. Get those vines in. Okay, I'm gonna crack open the big boys now. Ho! I have to say, like, I really like these pens. I would never have any use for them myself, unfortunately, but these are very high quality. I will be putting, in fact, nearly every item I'm using today will be going into the stash shop. It should be up by the time you see this video. If not, be sure to check back. I would highly recommend these metallic pens for someone. The brush nib on them is fantastic. They're just not my cup of tea because I simply just wouldn't use them most. You know, I'm a pencil monster, and anytime I do this more illustration-y type thing, it's because I'm doing art challenges. But the nibs on these are freaking fabulous. I love them. And I'm going to use this bearing in mind that this is opaque, I'm going to use this for my big leaves. So basically the ones that are going to cover the two main parts of the, I nearly said dragon there. I honestly haven't been taking drugs. I don't know where dragon came from. The big parts that are going to cover my tiger. I think this is just going to be one big frondy leafy. Right, that's the leaf there. That is absolutely 100% a leaf. So I could actually put another one there, like a little one. Oh, I'm getting brave now. Yeah. That's drying beautifully over the top of this. I love these pens. I wish I had more use for them. That's given us really nice coverage there as well. I was a little bit concerned. I mean, I knew it would cover it, but do you know that way you're always like, yeah, but will it really? The answer is yes. It will. Now that kind of looks like I've put that there on purpose because I'm lazy. I kind of am. I think I better have something coming up here as well. Look. Oh look, there's a little plant thing. Because the idea here is balance now. We have to have some sort of balance in all these different things that we're using. Which we will. I mean, we will. It'll be okay. It will be fine. But it's just a case of using your eye, because the way that you're seeing this, you're not seeing a lot of the sheen. I'll have to tip this up depending on what way you look at it. The good thing is these aren't super shiny, which is actually working to our advantage right now, and I am not complaining. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of this metallic pen here and there so that this fits in more with the picture, because that's what we need to be happening right now. Is this needs to look as if it's meant to be there. And it kind of does. I think what I'll do is I'm going to put another one in up here. Like a bigger one, I mean. Now I've got the other, this is more of a turquoisey colour. And I'm going to use this on this side so that we've got a bit of variation here. And it's not like, oh look, she's just used the same pen. Because she can't be bothered drawing the body of her tiger. We've established that we can draw tigers. This might just not be the easiest, or I could just make this a monstera. I'll actually draw this out though, because I don't want this to be a rubbish one. So the tip of it would be there. This is ironic because I've kind of fallen out with my monstera right now. I talked a wee bit about this in the live stream. There is a huge problem with fungus gnats this year, and I think a lot of it's to do with the weather, and certainly here in these here parts we have had much more in the way of issues with flies and things during the summer. Again, it was you know, like ridiculously hot, so I don't know whether that's got a lot to do with it, but yeah, there was kind of, the fungus gnat situation got a bit out of hand. Managed to get it under control, and then it just all kind of went bananas again, so we're not doing so well with it, and I'm getting increasingly frustrated. And I'm more concerned that they're going to migrate to other things. Like, I rescued an orchid, and at the time I didn't even know it was an orchid, and it is one of my favourite plants because it's beautiful, and I don't want the gnats you know, like latching onto that and ruining that, because that was a labour of love, that little plant, and it's done so well. Okay, I feel as if we're hemmed in enough with leaves now. I think we've done enough. So what I can do is I can start to put in the rest of my tiger now. This makes a little bit more sense, which is nice. So I'm going to go back to my orange paint. I didn't drop my paintbrush earlier. Oh, lordy. So there's going to be some sort of chin hair under here. I'm excited, look. Yeah. We've got some sort of face. Yeah, there's going to be tiger in there too. Yeah, so at the bottom half, I just need a suggestion of tiger. Doesn't need to be an other tiger. Got far too much paint on this brush. Yeah, okay, there we go. There's plenty of tiger in there, we get that. Not sure about this paper and lifting techniques, but yeah, seems to be doing an okay job. Obviously, I mean, I've got no idea what this paper even is. Like, I don't know what it is, so I can't really tell you anything about it because I don't know. Dear, so I want to add some stripes in to this underneath part as well. I'm gonna have to wait for that to dry completely. It's gonna be somewhere around there. Now, they do seem to have pale toes full stop. You know, that's not it depends on their markings kind of thing. It's like they all seem to have really pale toes. So I'm just going to leave them as they are. And then I'm going to get my little, because I think we'll be able to see some claws here. Or even the start of where the claws are. I'm just going to soften these edges. I'm hoping I can do this very gently with a paintbrush without it getting all silly, but we'll see. Oh, that marker doesn't want to move once it's on the paper. Well, okay, that screws that plan up. Never mind. I want to just fill in some of these whiter areas with a little bit of this canopy leaves colour again. Now that we've got everything placed. Okay, so now, just to add a few finishing touches, I've got these really bright colours with the edding pens. So I just want to add in a couple of flowers down the bottom here especially. So just going to keep some really basic shapes. Nothing, you know, nothing too fancy going to be going on here. So take advantage of some of these lines that I've made and maybe cover up some of the watermark mistakes here. Yeah, look, that's going to be, oh, the prettiest flowers. Okay, and for what I'm hoping what is going to be the last time in my entire life, because I swear blind, if I hear the colour opulent turquoise once more, I'm going to scream. This is the third time I've had one of these pens in a subscription box, and I'm pretty sick of opulent turquoise. In fact, you know what? I'm going to skip it altogether. I've used it that many times. I'm going to use a couple of these. Oh, look, pink quartz. That's going to be pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. I like it. Getting that nice jungle feel in here. It's getting pretty lush. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. I feel like I'm done. I do feel like I'm done. I feel kind of bad that I couldn't fit in the Upcrate prompt into this as well, but it was a bit kind of long-winded. It was something like, tomorrow there'll be no stopping us or something to that effect. I think we'll just, I I think we've done well. We have used most of the supplies, or at least an example. I haven't used every single supply, but we've used a fair chunk of stuff here, and I don't think this is overdone. I think it's just nice. This is the kind of thing, like when I was thinking about this, I was thinking like an illustration in a children's book. That was the first thing that had kind of popped into my head, and that obviously tied in with the Shere Khan, Disney thought that I had as well. So I hope that's translated onto paper. Obviously I've not drawn Shere Khan because that would be plagiarism. But we've managed to use a lot of the supplies, so this has turned out, the aesthetic has turned out the way I wanted it. That was a much shorter way of saying what I was trying to say. And I've actually had really good fun with this. I am, all joking aside, and I know we had a really good laugh about it in the live stream, the amount of markers that we've had and the fact that I've now had these Edding acrylic markers 3 times in subscription boxes, it makes me wonder whether there is a lifespan to the perceived level of value for a particular person who subscribes to these boxes. Obviously, I will continue to unbox these because it helps you guys out and helps you make decisions, and you can see the stuff in action. And if there's a particular supply that you were interested in, you can see it in the flesh, and I'll always give you honest opinions. But for the average subscriber, now bearing in mind I pay for my Scrawlrbox, I pay for my Upcrates, I do not get those for free. I don't think I would have both subscriptions. I would probably have one or the other, and for me it would probably be Scrawlrbox just because I'm in the UK, and obviously I wouldn't have to pay any extra shipping on that. So there is these things to think about. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to rescue that. I'm surprised that more of that didn't happen because I have no idea how long this has been taped down. I'm just going to pull that off. Yeah, so anyway, never mind the ramblings about the subscription boxes, that's for another time. Yeah, so, okay, 2 out of 3 prompts ain't bad. Had great fun with all the supplies. Again, it's just back to this same old thing, markers really aren't for me. I did get the most enjoyment out of the watercolour paint, unsurprisingly. And so, all of these supplies, everything that's here, will be going into the stash shop if you would like to give a bash yourself. And I would also like to say that this little Unipin fine liner, this little chisel, tiny chisel tip, this was the unsung hero of this artwork, because without it I wouldn't have had any tiger stripes. So I'm going to use this, hoping that's dry down there, to sign my name at the bottom. I really like this little pen. This isn't going in the stash shop. Gem's keeping this one because I don't have one of these. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed yourself today. This has been a really nice first video back. I feel a bit weird. I'm like, can I remember how to do this? But this has eased me in beautifully. So thanks very much for coming and hanging out. If you've made it this far, could you take a moment to hit the like button? Let's start off 2023 with a bang, and as we intend it to continue, which is to get to 10,000 subscribers. So that would be much appreciated, and I hope this has been helpful. Have a great day, everyone, and bye-bye for now. Oh, I should do the tippy, like, oh, shiny. Oh, shiny. Bye, everyone.